Welcome to IVB Auto. In this video, I'm going to do a full teardown of my 1994 Isuzu Trooper. Not only are we going to be tearing down the manual transmission because we have to rebuild it, we're also going to be tearing down the engine with zero experience of rebuilding transmissions before. So what could possibly go wrong? So stick around. Yeah, it's cold outside. So let's get the garage door closed and let me explain. I don't know if you can pick up the noise, but if I push my clutch in, the noise goes away. If I release it, that's one of the bearings that I need to replace. I have 258,000 on my daily driver. Something interesting has developed over the last couple of weeks. It sounds like I have a supercharger in it, but unfortunately I don't. The noise is coming from my fifth and my reverse gear bearing. It's going out. Oh, and I almost forgot about the seat. Since I won't be able to drive the car because the transmission is going to be out, I actually took the seat to an upholstery shop. One of the springs broke and there's a tear on the driver's side seat. I'm gonna get that replaced. I'm gonna show you the seat removal now and then we'll start prepping for the transmission removal. Let's get to it. I'm gonna first unplug the battery so it doesn't die on me. I think it's as simple as 4 bolts to remove the seat, but we're gonna find out. As you can see, the interior is great for 1994, but the one thing that hasn't survived is this hole right here. Just getting in and out of the car over time caused. Now, another thing that made me want to actually get this reupholstered finally is, so in the back you can see that the spring finally broke from underneath. It really makes it uncomfortable driving for any extended period of time. I think there's 2 Phillips screws here holding this plastic trim in place. It's surprising how good these trim pieces are after all this time. Yeah, I think there's 4 bolts holding the seat down and a couple of screws holding the trim pieces. There we go. Put some blue Loctite on there. All right. And there's 2 bolts right here. All right, now let's see if we can take this out. Oh yeah. Now there is a connector that we have to remove. And just like that, we got it out. As you can see, here's the broken spring. That's gonna get replaced. Now I'm gonna remove the rest of this trim piece. I wanna remove this bottom half. This is the seat rail that the seat sits on and bolts to. Next, we're gonna have to lift the vehicle up and put it on jack stands. I'm also gonna put this mat underneath, catches any oil and absorbs it so I can just wash it, rinse it, reuse it. It's kind of neat. I don't even wanna work, it's so cold. I'm gonna lift the front up first. I'm gonna make sure my parking brake is all the way up. We want it nice and high so we can get the transmission out. I'm gonna lower that down. I'm gonna do the other side now. All right, we got the front up. I'm just gonna do a shake test. Make sure it's nice and sturdy. Side to side, front to back. I would rather have it fall now than on me. All right, everything feels nice and sturdy. Now I'm gonna do the back. It's not going anywhere. How's it going? So as you can see here, this is the transfer case. We have some oil leaking. I think it's time to freshen up a lot of the gaskets and seals that are here. And now we're gonna just drain all the oil. There's the transmission oil and the transfer case oil that we need to drain. I also want to show you that I do have some metal. It's also why I wanted to get this done sooner than later and not keep driving and ignoring the problem. This is the transmission drain plug right here. It's on there tight. And now we're just gonna let it drain as much as possible. I'm gonna mark the drive shaft so we can put it in the same place. Now I do wanna put the car in neutral so that way it free spins. Take the e-brake off as well. Next, we're gonna remove this drive shaft, which transfers the power to the rear wheels. We're going to put it down for now. Then next I'm going to remove the bolts holding the rear of the drive shaft so we can pull this out. I just want to use a bungee so that this doesn't fall on my face. That should hold it up. All right, I'm not going to let those bolts test my strength. Now with that being done, I'm going to remove this. We can slide this all the way out. The front ones are nice and clean. The rear ones for the drive shaft bolts, they're all rusted. That's why I was having such a hard time. But I'll have to clean them up before reinstallation or get new ones. Now we're just going to drain the old oil out. definitely see glitter in there. So the bearing is definitely disintegrating itself. Look at all that shiny metal flakes. The last couple of weeks I was just driving in 4th gear. I never went up to 5th gear, and obviously I did have to use reverse. Hopefully it didn't do any damage. But we're gonna find out. There's definitely some metal flakes in there. Looks cool, just not a good sign. Next, we gotta figure out how to remove this shifter boot and the gear shifter from the top of the transmission. So the 4x4 selector unscrews. Okay, there we go. Probably important that it's in neutral before I take it apart. It's crazy how good the quality still is. And as you can see, we do have some slop when it's in gear. So we're gonna have to figure out what we need to fix. Several years ago, I paid somebody to replace my clutch, and it seems like they probably ripped this when they were trying to take the transmission out. So just another reason why you should do it yourself. Now I do see several bolts here that are holding this metal plate that's holding this boot down. So this is what we're gonna do next. Final bolt is out. The moment of truth, whether we have to remove the entire dash to get this out or if we can sneak this by. Nah, yeah, there's another bolt on the side over here. Now I'm gonna remove the center console. I'm just gonna start unscrewing stuff that I see. Do the other side as well. I think there's a couple of screws in here. They made it so nice and simple back in the day. Oh, look at that. Came out just as a section. There's 8 screws holding that, and just like that, it all comes out. Now we have access to 2 more screws on this side. Piece is supposed to come out all together. We can see the top of the transmission. I think I'm gonna remove the screws here, these 2 screws. I'm gonna pop this out. I can remove this cover right here. A couple of screws here that I'll be able to remove, and that I can pull the shifter out. Around here, it's leaking down and down the side of the transmission. It's a good thing we're taking this apart because I feel like there's a lot of things that we'll have to refresh. So the concept is the same. Gear selector. This holds this ball in place. And then that's how you select whether you want to do rear wheel drive, 4-wheel high, or 4-wheel low. And that ball goes right into there, which controls the 4-wheel drive selector. All right, so today's day 2. And what I didn't tell you is I have a secret weapon, and that's Dad. You want to say hi, Dad, to the camera? Come over here. So that's my secret weapon. And we also have the all data procedures. It's not super detailed, but it does have like diagrams. It'll help for sure. It has torque specs, will come in handy. So next step is we're gonna use some of this on the exhaust bolts. And now we're just gonna remove the bolts for this front cross member. It doesn't look like it's holding anything. Nice. Exhaust gasket. And now we're just removing the front drive shaft. All right, next we're gonna just disconnect all the wires. So that way we can remove the transmission without ripping any wires out. Okay, we got a wardrobe change because it's about to get dirty. In order for us to get to the starter, we have to remove the exhaust. In order for us to remove the exhaust, we have to remove this cross member. In order for us to remove this cross member, we're gonna have to put a jack up and lift it because that's where the transmission mount goes and supports the transmission. Cross member out. Exhaust out. We're moving and grooving now. Teamwork makes the dream work. Now we're removing the front drive shaft. I've probably already said that like 3 times. So this is a little bit of an inconvenience, but we now have to remove the transmission jack further up, and we have to prop the transmission somehow. So there's 2, maybe 3 bolts holding this starter in place. There might be a 3rd one holding the transmission and the starter all together. This is my dad's truck that we rebuilt. As you can see, it's running perfect, no oil leaks. That job gave us a little bit of confidence to do a full transmission teardown. There we go.
Ferrari, это хорошо, no Ford, baby, Ford.
So my DeWalt wasn't able to break it loose. Milwaukee for the win. Okay, so let me explain what was going on with the impact gun. All these batteries are 20 V max. This one is 20 V max, and this is 20 V max, right? So they're all compatible, but the smaller battery is rated 1.3 amps per hour. I'm gonna get this wrong, so I'm gonna read it off of Google. But basically, the amp hour rating is commonly compared to a fuel tank for runtime. But in high demand tools like impact guns, it also affects peak power. So that is why I needed at least a 5 amp battery. They actually recommend a 6 amp battery to get the most out of the tool. And that's why my impact gun was stuttering and failing to break away any real heavy duty bolts. But that's something that I didn't know, and it was driving me nuts because it's not a cheap tool and it just wasn't living up to its expectation. All right, starter's coming out. Why don't I just move the wiring harness? All right, this is the cost of breaking the bolt. We were able to break the bolt loose, but it was at a great cost. Our battle wounds bandaged up. I should have wore these gloves when I was trying to break the bolt, but you live and you learn. I had my hand against this thing. That's saying that the transmission is ready to come out. All right, transmission is out. That is the clutch, Dad. And then that's the throwout bearing. Now we can remove the transmission from underneath the car. We got the transmission out over there. Now Dad's removing the clutch. All right, that's the whole entire clutch, and that's the flywheel. And yeah, it definitely needs to be replaced. Yeah, my dad's saying that the clutch is good. 75,000 miles, it still would have kept going, but since we're doing this job, I want to replace it anyways. The flywheel, what do you think, Dad? I mean, it looks like there's like heating discoloration and stuff, so we're going to take that out and then replace that as well. Dad's saying with the Isuzu, it was a lot easier. We took it apart in 2 days, and for my dad's truck, which if you haven't seen that video, it's the previous video that we did. It took us several days to just get the transmission out. All right, so here's the flywheel. You can start seeing the wear and tear on the teeth on the outside. 75,000 miles ago, I had the top 2/3 of the engine rebuilt, but as you can see, it's leaking oil. And also, because we never poured down the bottom third of the engine, it's burning a lot of oil. And I assume it's because of the piston rings have been worn out. It's time to rebuild the rest of the engine. This job went from just rebuilding the transmission to completely rebuilding the engine. We're already half of the way there because we took the transmission out. But I think this is gonna be a really cool project. I love the Trooper and it's not going anywhere. So far so good. Only lost half a finger. So what I'm gonna do is just clean the outside of the transmission the best I can, and then we'll start the teardown process. All right, day 3, and we're gonna start tearing down the transmission. I cleaned it up the best I could. Now it's just time to take it all apart. Wish us luck. This is where the gear shifter goes into, and then here you can see this is the gear selector. It just runs, and I think this was leaking oil. I think there was a missing gasket here. Whoever rebuilt this transmission at 75,000 miles, they didn't put anything. No silicone, no gasket, no nothing. So I've had it leaking from there for as long as I've had the car. All right, we're gonna start with the removing the transfer case cover and just going from there. That's the speed sensor, and I just, for the manual transmission, it goes into the transfer case. We're going to remove this in order to be able to just crack the transfer case. Easy. I don't know what it's called. It connects to the drive shaft. This little O-ring came from here. So we'll get a new one. Ooh! This is the gears. This is the transfer case gears. So this is what's selecting 4x4. There's some bearings right here. There's some bearings right there. The way the gear puller works is tightening the bolt and it's pushing it out. There we go. It works like a charm. So now we're just going to remove this front cover. All right, this is the front cover. All right, after a quick coffee break, we're back at it. This sensor is for the light when I need to upshift. Oh, this is the reverse gear light. It might be holding us back from removing the two halves. Since it's not moving, we're gonna just try to remove this gears and see if it's holding the middle section back. We're gonna find out. slowly but surely. The way I see it is the way it comes apart is the way we need to put it together. Remove this. Okay. All right, we removed the transmission housing. There we go. Look at that metal sludge. That's the bearing that's disintegrated itself. I had to rebuild the transmission. Good job, Dad. Nice. This right here is a metal plate. From what I understand, everything, all the gears sit on this. And this is just the housing. This is the transfer case. All that shiny goodness. It looks cool on like a paint color maybe or something, but not in your oil. Oh, nice. Yeah. So my dad noticed that there's a magnet here to catch the sludge. So that's really cool to, you know, save the rest of the bearings. Isuzu built some good cars, in my opinion. Our adventures continue on trying to remove the other half. Right here, there's a little C-clip. And then now, maybe it'll come out. Who knows? We're gonna remove this nut back here. This is where we stopped day 3. I need a massive 39 or 40 millimeter socket, maybe even bigger. I think this nut and the gears are preventing us from removing this section. The way I see it is just a more complex and larger Lego set. I'm gonna clean up the workspace, something that I like to do at the end of the day. I'm super excited. Let's eat dinner and then let's go do some shopping. Okay, so I ordered the large socket for the transmission that I need, but it'll take a couple of days to come in. In the meantime though, I'm gonna rebuild the engine. There's never really a good time to rebuild your engine, especially on a daily driver, but I think right now is the best chance that we have. While we're waiting for the socket to come in to tear down the rest of the transmission, we're gonna go ahead and start removing the engine and tearing it down because we need to take it to the machine shop. It'll take a couple of weeks for them to do their thing, and in the meantime, we'll continue doing the teardown of the transmission. Let's get to it because we have a lot of stuff to do. We're gonna remove this cover here to get access to the oil filter. I got a pretty bad leak and it's coming from either the oil filter adapter or somewhere else. Could have been worse. Draining the engine oil now. As you can see, it's pretty dark. I try to replace it every 7,000 miles because I have to add so much oil. Once I get the new engine rebuilt, I'll be changing every 5,000 miles. While the oil is draining, we're gonna start removing the battery. And this is just a battery shim, Dad. We're gonna remove the battery holder. And then we're gonna remove the intake. We're also gonna remove the fan. And on my car, I think there's just 3 bolts holding it. And then of course, we're gonna drain the coolant. We're gonna remove the battery tray and then the filter. So that's the little petcock that you're supposed to unscrew to remove the coolant. It's gonna get a little messy. I hate coolant. It's so slimy, worse than oil. My radiator might be blocked. Maybe we'll have to change it out or flush it out. We'll see. At this rate, it'll take forever. So I think I'm gonna try to remove the lower radiator hose. Nice. Love some good coolant shower. Have I ever said how much I hate coolant, Dad? I would rather take a bath in engine oil than coolant. We disconnected the AC compressor line. We removed the Freon from that. Okay, so with the fuel pressure, we're gonna open the gas cap and then that's the best that we can do because we took the transmission out. The starter's mounted to the transmission. So what you actually need to do if the starter's on before you start removing stuff is pull the fuse for the fuel pump, let it run until it dies. That relieves the fuel pressure from the car. Since we can't do that, we're gonna do the best that we can and we might get a little bit of fuel, but the engine's not hot, the battery's out. I don't think there's really any issue besides getting it on the floor and, well, as you can see, the coolant's already everywhere. Disconnected a bunch of stuff. All right, we're just draining the power steering fluid from the top so less runs out. I gotta replace these lines anyway. Now we're just removing the fan shroud so that way we can pull the radiator out. So this is just a bracket that holds this in place. Next, we're going to remove the heater cord lines. We're removing everything that can get snagged when we're trying to pull the engine. Fan out. This is one of the mounts, and then there's going to be another one somewhere to give us a mounting point for the chains for the engine hoist. Just want to make sure that none of the wires are connected to the engine. That's connected to the body. I'm going to remove this wiring harness out of the way. This runs to the transmission, all the sensors, the transfer case, all that. So I want to remove that. Not a bad idea to wear safety goggles. Stuff gets everywhere. Starter's out. Let's see if there's anything else. We're just removing this section right here to make it easier for us to remove the engine. Okay, next I'm going to lower it from the jack stands and give us more clearance so that it doesn't hit the garage door. Now we're going to back it up a little bit. Handbrake is on. We got the chain connected. There's a mounting bolt right here. And then we mounted the chain on the back of one of the transmission bell housing bolts. We're just gonna go straight up and then we're gonna take the hood off. The reason why we marked is we wanna make sure that the alignment of the hood is spot on. This is just for the windshield washer. Jeez, baby, you scared me. And now we're gonna put the hood somewhere safe. Okay, just like with the transmission being my first time removing and rebuilding, this is also gonna be the very first time I remove and rebuild an engine. So wish us luck. This is what the oxygen sensor looks like. And as you can see, it's filthy. Now we're just removing the engine mounts, one on each side, but two total. There's 2 bolts, and this is what's holding your engine up. The last thing that we have to remove before we can lift the engine out. So I'm gonna put you back down. Say hello to my little friend. Okay, we have to disconnect a few more wires that we've noticed as we're starting to pull this up. One of the wires is the ground wire that runs from the engine to the frame. So this is a critical stage to not rip anything out. And I don't know exactly why, but 3 ground wires. 2 on this side and 1 on the other side. I think you can come all the way out now. Everything is good. We're all clear. Plenty of room in the engine bay. All right, Dad, I think we're getting to the max. All right, we're gonna move everything out of the way so we can pivot. All right, Dad, I think we're good. Engine is out. All right, we're making history. That's right. Dad was saying whenever we finish, put everything back together, rebuild it, and successfully start it, that's when we'll be making history. I hope coolant's not bad for your paint, Dad. Yeah, Dad was saying don't stand underneath the engine. Wish I was. So good idea. We're coming on down, and we're gonna try to line this up. All right, so we don't have long enough bolts to put the engine on the engine stand. I think that's it for tonight. Tomorrow, we'll go try to get some longer bolts. Put this on the jack stand. Dad is not feeling well, so he's relieved to go home. All right, thanks, Dad. As you can see, there's really not much left. This is 2 days later, and we needed to buy some longer bolts. As you can see, the transmission bolts are not long enough to come through. I actually bought this. This is just a way to figure out what size and thread that you need. So this is a really cool thing to have. And I got the longer ones. So now we'll be able to mount the engine to the engine stand. Engine is on the engine stand. Feels pretty sturdy and secure. Now we can disassemble it. Now let's get a catchy thumbnail so people actually click on the video. I think that was the one. Okay, so now it's time to tear down the engine. We're gonna start tearing down from the top down. I'm just gonna do a quick video walk around to make sure that we know where everything goes, especially the vacuum hoses. Right now we're moving the engine lifting brackets. There's one on the back, one on the side. There's supposed to be another one on the other side, but we're missing that. So one of the things we're doing is just when we're taking off, whatever we're taking off, we're trying to reinstall the bolts. That way we're not digging around through a pile trying to figure out what goes where. Hopefully that should help us out. Whoa! Look at that, Dad. So this is what the camshafts look like. We're going to take it off so we can get down to the pistons. What we're going to do is the reverse order of the installation so that we don't warp the head. So as you can see here, that's the pistons. There's definitely some carbon buildup on it. The walls look pretty good. We disassembled it all together. We'll let the machine shop take a look at that. This is the bottom of the lifters. This is the valve lifters. And as you can see, they're pretty bad. I am surprised after 3 years that that's the state that they're in. We're gonna take it to a different machine shop and we might have to refinish the bottom of the head as well. And maybe that's why it was leaking. I'll give you a better look. The engine should run a whole lot better once it's all cleaned up and fresh. You can see the coolant. The coolant runs through here, and that's how it keeps the engine temperature down. There's oil in the piston rings, and that's what lubes the pistons while they're running up and down. Just looking at the cylinders, running my finger through, I don't see anything. I think they're in pretty good shape. We're going to get the machine shop to polish them up. Based off of that, we'll figure out the piston rings and the appropriate gapping to that, which is very important. I might have the machine shop do that because I don't really feel comfortable. And we're obviously going to get the machine shop to check the cylinder heads to make sure that they're not warped already. This piston looks pretty bad. So now we're going to turn the engine over, start unbolting the bottom of it. This is what the oil pan looks like. This is the oil pickup. Remove this stuff. Crankshaft is right there. Start unbolting them, spinning the engine, and removing all of them, and the piston will come out. Easy as that. You can smell the burnt oil. Look at that. There's the crankshaft. Bearing. All this looks good. Yeah, it's good news. So this is what the piston looks like. This is the, I guess, the upper piston ring. This is the lower one, and this is the oil. Now we're gonna remove the rest of the pistons. That's kind of cool, Dad. This looks pretty good too. This one, you can see that top coating is starting to wear away. And so, I mean, we're obviously gonna replace all of these, but you kind of tell the wear on the bearing. This is the oil pump. This is the front crankshaft seal. Oh yeah, gasket needs to be replaced. I think, yep, just disintegrated. So this is the rear crankshaft seal, and this is the, I guess, the housing. Got to replace both anyways. We're gonna go out to in. Hey. And last but not least, the crankshaft. They look good. I don't feel any grooves dead. You can get the crankshaft polished. I mean, it's good news though. I don't think we have to replace it. So get you up and close. Looking good. All in a day's work, Dad. All right, so here is the bare block. As you can see, everything looks good. I don't see anything abnormal. There's some, I think, gasket or something in here. But that's just, we got everything taken apart. I kept it the same way we took it out. And as you can see, now the real question is, can we put everything back together? Stay tuned. Is it heavy? Oh yeah, it's not heavy. It's like maybe 100 pounds, maybe less, 75. All right, Dad, good job. We made it safely to the machine shop. Now that the engine is at the machine shop, we're gonna focus on the transmission again. Hey. Gotta continue figuring out how to remove this. And for the record, I have no idea what I'm doing. If that makes anyone feel any better. I hate C-clips. There we go. All right, seal is out. This C-clip is gonna be the death of me. I don't care if I have to damage this C-clip, I'll just get another one. This thing is kicking my butt. That's not how you remove a C-clip. All right, woo! It's coming apart. Slowly but surely. This is the gear. This is something. And then I'm gonna lay everything down the way it was, so that way when I go ahead and reassemble it, I know how. Oops. All right, I don't know how I'm gonna reassemble this. That's one little tooth. That's another little tooth right there. And then I need the third one from back here. Even if we do fail, that doesn't bother me because I'm learning so much doing this. I think everything else is moving and wants to come out, except for this. Oh, okay. I was wrong. Just needed a little bit of love. Okay, now I gotta figure out how it went to place. Okay, that's the bearing. We can pull that out later. I'm gonna keep it for now. This is the little C-clip. And this is the gears. All right, now we should have other things that come out. Okay, all right. Trying to be gentle with it, but some of this stuff needs to be kind of yanked out. Okay. All right, let's make sure I put it all back together. This goes like this. This goes like this. It's just like one big Lego. Okay, this comes out like this. We're getting somewhere. All right, the rest of this comes out. Same concept. It's got these little bearings right here. Oh, gotta put my big boy pants on. Oh, that's just a dead end. This came out just like this, but it's just a bearing at the end. Somehow, somewhere, that little ball disappeared that was holding this stuff. Okay, I can see a seal here. Oh, this thing right here. Is this it? No, I don't know what this is though. The chances of us putting it back together are going lower and lower by the minute. Oh boy. My last case resort is to source a manual transmission from Japan, if I can find one. Hypothetically speaking, nothing should be holding this back. Oh, hey! I like this method. Could use a second pair of hands right now. Now we are down to just the transmission side of things, and I like it. Oh, interesting. Huh, there are two in there. There are two seals back to back. Transfer case is fully disassembled. This is, I think, reverse gear. It's smaller than all the rest of them. That came from there. It was like this. Good thing is that the gears seem to be fine. I was scared that some of the metal debris would get into some of these gears and do more damage. So far, so good. All right, another piece missing. Oh, C-clip right here. Wonder if I have to punch these out, these little pins. I just put it into gear. Sometimes you gotta bring the big guns out. What is that? These just slid into here. There we go. Now it's out. So this will come out. I just got to figure out how to remove this. Yep. That is exactly how I thought this piece was going to go. Now this gear can, I think, come out from the other side. Oh yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So this can come out from the other side. We are moving and grooving. Oh yeah. Okay. It's a little ball. So I won't be able to pull this out until I get this little C-clip out. Or not. I'm kidding. Put this back in. Ooh. Okay. There we go. Bearing is out. This is a big boy. This one smells. I do hear some grinding. This could be the culprit of our whining. I don't know if you can hear that. And it's not smooth either. All right, that's good news. We're gonna continue tearing it down because I wanna replace all of the bearings. Next, I'm gonna try to remove this bolt. I have to hold this in place. I could see some marks from when they previously rebuilt it because this transmission was rebuilt at like 80, 90,000 miles. So you could see where they were striking it from here to get it loose, like this. All right, we're bringing out the hammer. I tried playing nice, I really did. There we go. You did good, Vice Grips. You did good. Hopefully I didn't damage anything. No, I didn't. Haha, nice. I love when things work out. Now, something is supposed to happen. I don't know what yet. I feel like that's the only thing that's holding it back. Oh, would you look at that? They recommend replacing the synchros. There's a little bit of wear on this. I should replace them because it's a good idea too. What's next? All right, the gear came out. Beautiful. This is a nice looking gear. I mean, if you're in here, you might as well replace everything that you can. The issue I'm running into is hard to find parts. Now we can get to these right here. Thing is that I need to pay attention to is that there's like little balls and pins that are kind of in every single little nook and cranny. Let's find out. T45. Oh, wow. I've been spot on lately. Okay. They're on there pretty tight. I just don't want to strip these. This would be like the worst case scenario. All the way in. All right, there we go. All right, that's okay. Okay. Okay, this is, oh! All right, we got one of the pieces out. There are some metal shavings just from, I guess, the bearing that was failing. So I want to clean everything up when I reinstall it, but everything looks pretty good. Yep, it's another bearing. All right, so the main drive shaft is left. I just don't want it to fall on my foot. Okay, so synchros here. This came out from the front of the unit. Yeah, this synchro looks bad. You see this discoloration? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and order all new synchros. I don't wanna be doing this job again. I like doing a job right the first time. It does seem like there's some sort of groove here. So we'll just clean everything up. And then I think this is the surface. Okay. I got some new C-clip pliers on the way. So hopefully they're better than these. I don't think these are working for the bigger ones. Well, I broke these. Tension doesn't work. All right, sorry, buddy. Sorry to do this to you. It's not how you remove them, but that's one way to remove them. If I figure out what I'm doing, I'll let y'all know. This is the one I need to punch out. I think that worked. All right. It came out. It came out. Oh yeah. Several days and many hours later, we finally got this apart. I think this is pressed on. As you can see, this won't go in there. I need a press in order to get this off. All right, now we have the press. We have the bearing puller. We have to get a large one. Yeah, this is heavier than it looks. And now we're just gonna do the same thing to the bearing. And as you can see, this bearing was one of the bad ones as well. So this come out, bearing, this come out. It's beautiful. I also upgraded to this Icon brand of C-clip pliers. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's better. All right, so this is behind the scenes of what the workshop looks like. and I clean up after every single day. But as you can see, more and more stuff is coming in, and we just got a heavy duty H-frame shop press. So that's what we just purchased. 20-ton shop press. We're gonna assemble that, and this will make putting the transmission back together more convenient. All right, hydraulic press is up and running. Thanks to my dad for helping install it. It's the last bit. And that, my friends, is a complete disassembly of the transmission. All right, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching me tear down my engine and transmission, hit the like button. If you wanna see me try to put everything back together and start the Trooper, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.